Now remember when I said in part 3 that hatch characters will be introduced in part 5? How about we just start off the episode with them? The slave child come in multitudes in the Free the Slaves level. Fittingly, you can probably see that they're short with small legs. That's important. You see, every short character has the hatch ability. What does this mean? Well, sometimes in levels you just see these little orange doors. As a small character, you can crawl through them and access new areas needed to complete levels or get collectibles or whatever. These hatches are most common in Temple of Doom because of Short Round. They occasionally show up in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade levels, but only for collectible reasons. Anyway, why did the thuggies kidnap just the children? Children aren't as strong and fully developed as like adults are. Pankot should have just been real about it and just ransacked the village, enslaving all the people. But in the Free the Slaves level, the whole gimmick of that level is to free slaves, so they can crawl through hatches to open the door to the next area. What's funny about this is that in free play, you don't even need to free the slaves, open it yourself. You just leave them in there. It's funny because it's called Free the Slaves, but you're not actually freeing them in free play. There's a lot of frees, but not the slaves. You know him, you love him. It's the shorty boy. I mean, there's not much to say since I explained the hatch ability in the last segment, but dang, you need this guy a lot in the Temple of Doom levels. You play him in... No, you don't. Oh, yeah, you do. Keep that in. You play him in all 6 levels in Temple of Doom. Sure, you don't play Short Round in the Free the Slaves level until the end boss fight, but still, man, it's pretty darn important in the story mode. Anyway, Short Round met Indiana Jones after trying to pickpocket him, but Indy was too sly and got him with his whip. In the Indiana Jones expanded universe, Short Round, Indiana Jones, and Wu Han, the waiter who died at the beginning of Temple of Doom, isn't important. They went on adventures together. I wish there was an animated TV show of Indiana Jones to highlight some of these adventures. There are many to see. Oh, and one more thing. Short Round named the baby elephant he rode on at the end of the movie Big Short Round. Classic stuff. Yes, now we're moving on to a whole other branch of abilities. There aren't too many hatch characters, but this is not the end of the short boys. They'll show up again, just you wait. Anyway, now we're moving on to pistol characters. Yes, pistols are by no means necessary to finish levels, like abilities such as the academic and hatch abilities, but they make the level a lot more easier to get through. There are times when the enemies just won't stop coming. Do you want to fight all of the enemies by hand? Especially if they have a ranged weapon. No, you don't. That's why pistols and other guns are so worth it. Speaking of enemies that won't stop coming, the first pistol character that in this list is the SHERPA Brawler. And actually, I think he's the first pistol enemy that shows up in the game, in the Into the Mountains level. What'd you know? You think that the name Brawler indicates that he brawls instead of pew-pews with his gun, but I guess not. This dude has a pistol, and he doesn't mess around. Anyway, he's worthless compared to other pistol users, so we're just going to move on. For some reason he has a pistol? Yet you'd think he have a sword, considering that's what he had in the level he was in. And also another thing, why is this guy named the Masked Bandit when the other shoveling bandit is also masked? There's a bandit swordsman, so how about we call the shovel bandit the bandit shovelman, and the masked bandit be called the bandit gunman? I mean, we should stay consistent, right? Let's get a bandit whipman, that'd be Indiana Jones in his desert disguise, and bandit arkman? That's Belloc because he took the ark? Maybe? I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but I think it works. Remember in the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones was carrying the map and looking cool while all the guys around him were scared off by tribesman Humbo Jumbo? Well, now you get to play as the guy who ran away. But this time, you get a gun. I don't know why. I don't know why they gave him a gun, but honestly he'd be better suited for the academic ability since he is the guide and probably knows some stuff about the area, right? People are so hard to talk about because of how insignificant they are. It was easier to stall time in LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga because every character had a story behind them. But in this game, there's only a handful of important characters and the rest are basically Thug number 1 and Thug number 2. It's frustrating. Now you know why sometimes I might be like super stalling, like it's like filler. Now you know why. That's it. At first glance, you'll probably say, hey, that guy isn't British. He got a turban, and turbans are too cool for Brits. But, historically speaking, India was in Britain's control back when the Temple of Doom took place, in the 1930s. Anyway, this man is also a pistol wielder, and that's why he's at number 45, along with his cool blue turban. Here's an interesting tidbit about this character. This character doesn't even show up in a cutscene. He's not in the game at all, besides in the roster. In the actual movie, the British commander and his troops all show up in Indy's favor to bust the thuggies red-handed. But in this game, they don't show up. They don't show that part in the cutscene. In the cutscene that plays after you beat the battle on the bridge level, Indiana Jones and the gang just stand up and laugh about the fact that they killed a bunch of thuggies by destroying that bridge. But there's no sign of British soldiers. So this is one of those instances where you'd totally be confused if you played this game but didn't watch the movie. Again, another character that didn't show up in this game but showed up in the movie. If you ask me, he kind of looks like a Belloc with a fake mustache. I mean, mercenary archaeology can only get you so far. Anyway, Temple of Doom took place before Raiders of the Lost Ark, so Belloc was still alive at this time. The British commander, in quotation marks, is a part of the pistol gang, so I wonder how Belloc lost his pistol between the Temple of Doom and Raiders of the... I mean, what? I'm not speaking of any conspiracy theories. Are you crazy? Alright guys, the LEGO Games police are gone. I know this man is actually Belloc. I mean, his clothes are the exact same. He didn't even try. He probably just wanted to scope out the deets of Indy before confronting him at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You might not remember, but he was at the Pancot dinner party. Back when Cheddar Lal wasn't a snake. I mean, he nor any of his troops were relevant to the story, and that's probably why they were cut from the cutscenes in this game. Really, all they did was point their guns at the surviving thuggies. Mola Ram was already dead at that point, and the thuggies are next to useless, as I've stated countless times in the last part. So, an open note to the British officer. Why'd you even show up? Indiana Jones handled it enough. There was a lot of collateral damage to be sure, but he did his job. He saved the world, or something. You probably just wanted to get on his fortune and glory, huh? I've seen your type before. You sack of outdated potatoes. You can't fool me. Just stop trying to be cool. Also, give up on that hair, man. Once you start balding, there's no use in fighting it. Just shave it off. Barranca? I hope I'm saying that right. He's another one of the major chumps in the Indiana Jones franchise. In case you don't know, he is the guy who tried to kill Indiana Jones at the beginning of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, but lost with a gun, at point-blank range, against a guy with a whip. Plot armor, am I right, fellas? Anyway, if that isn't bad enough, he dies from a bunch of Jovito's tribesmen arrows. Both the Barranca/Indiana Jones face-off and Barranca's death was not adapted into the game. Obviously. This man does have a pistol, by the way. At least for this guy it makes sense though, because he does have a gun in the scene. But that doesn't excuse the Jungle Guide's pistol. Anyway, the man who played Barranca, Vic Tablian, also played the Monkey Man in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I noticed that many actors are reused for different parts in the Indiana Jones movie, like Pat Roach as someone who commented on my last video. Pat Roach played Swolbert Buffman and the slave driver, and also a bodyguard in the Last Crusade, but his fight scene ended up being cut. But the point is, they like to reuse actors, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, he's a Turkish guy who wanted to keep the Holy Grail sacred and secure. You can't blame him. He was Indiana Jones' enemy at first, but in his desert variant, he's your friend. It's kind of funny because in the level this variant shows up, Desert Ambush, KAZIM just kind of stands around with his cronies and their guns acting like they're doing something, when really they're doing jack, while we fight armed Nazis with our fists. I mean, come on KAZIM, you're better than this. You're the protector of the Cup of Christ, so act like it, man. Yes, KAZIM has a gun in free play mode. Yes, you can use it more than KAZIM in Desert Ambush. It's just frustrating that I had to kill Nazis with my hands without the help of 3 men with guns right next to me. I mean, come on, KAZIM. I would be harder on you, but you died, so I can't be too mean. But come on.